When struggling artist Ilara signed up for Isolated Hearts, she thought 14 days in a luxury mansion would solve her financial problems. She didn't expect Dominic Kane, the ruthless billionaire who destroyed her father's company 5 years ago. What she didn't know was that Dominic recognized her immediately and paid the producers a fortune to extend their confinement. As cameras rolled and attractions ignited, Ilara discovered the show was rigged, the mansion had no exit, and the men she was falling for had been orchestrating everything from the beginning. Some prisons have golden bars, and some captors make you want to stay. This is 15-minute binge watch. One story. One obsession. 15 minutes. Let's begin. Ilara Chen stared at the iron gates closing behind her, sealing her inside the sprawling estate with 11 strangers and a television crew that had already melted into the shadows. The mansion loomed ahead, all glass and stone and architectural arrogance, the kind of place that whispered of old money and older secrets. She clutched her single suitcase tighter, reminding herself why she was here. $50,000 for 14 days of filmed isolation. Enough to save her art studio from foreclosure and keep her grandmother in the care facility for another year. Welcome to Isolated Hearts, a producer's voice crackled through hidden speakers. Your phones have been confiscated. The gates are locked. For the next 2 weeks, this mansion is your entire world. Form alliances, find love, or simply survive. America will be watching. The other contestants shuffled toward the entrance, their excitement palpable. Ilara hung back, cataloging faces, looking for threats. Reality television was a circus, and she had no intention of being the clown. She would keep her head down, avoid drama, collect her check, and disappear. Then she saw him. Dominic Kane stood in the marble foyer like he owned it, because men like him owned everything. Tall, devastatingly handsome in the way that seemed genetically engineered to destroy common sense, with dark hair and eyes the color of a winter storm. He wore a black suit despite the casual setting, and something about his posture suggested he was used to rooms rearranging themselves around his presence. Ilara's blood turned to ice water. 5 years ago, Dominic Kane's venture capital firm had systematically dismantled her father's manufacturing company, asset stripped it, and sold the pieces for profit. Her father had never recovered. He died 18 months later, and the doctors called it a heart attack, but Ilara knew better. Dominic Kane had killed him as surely as if he'd pulled a trigger. She turned away, pulse hammering, praying he wouldn't recognize her. She'd been 21 then, still in college, invisible during the few meetings she'd attended with her father. Her last name was common enough. Maybe she could survive 2 weeks in the same space without combusting. Ilara Chen, his voice cut through the chatter, smooth and dark as expensive whiskey. Interesting to see you here. She froze. Turned slowly. He was looking directly at her, a slight smile playing at the corners of his mouth. Recognition. He knew exactly who she was. You must have me confused with someone else, she said carefully. I never forget a face. Especially not yours. He moved closer, and the cameras swiveled to capture the interaction. Good television, she supposed. The billionaire and the nobody having a moment. Your father was Richard Chen. Brilliant engineer. Terrible businessman. The casual cruelty of it stole her breath. Stay away from me. Difficult, considering we're locked in here together. His smile widened. 14 days. Should be illuminating. That first night, Ilara couldn't sleep. The bedroom was obscenely luxurious, all silk sheets and ambient lighting, but it felt like a trap. She kept replaying Dominic's words, trying to understand why he was here. Billionaires didn't do reality television for $50,000. They didn't do it for publicity. So why? The answer came on day 3. She'd been avoiding Dominic with surgical precision, but the mansion's layout made complete avoidance impossible. The producers kept engineering situations that threw them together. A cooking challenge. A pool party. A candlelit dinner that felt more like an ambush. You're wondering why I'm here, Dominic said, cornering her in the library while cameras hummed in the shadows. I don't care why you're here. Liar. He poured himself a scotch from the bar cart, didn't offer her one. I'm here because of you, Ilara. Her stomach dropped. What? I've been tracking you for 5 years. Waiting for the right moment. When I saw you'd applied to this show, desperate for money, I knew it was perfect. Confined space. Cameras everywhere. Nowhere to run. You're insane. I'm methodical. He took a sip, watching her over the rim of the glass. Your father stole from me. $3 million in intellectual property, smuggled out before the acquisition. I want it back. Ilara's mind reeled. My father never stole anything. You destroyed his company out of greed. Your father was a thief and a liar, and you know where he hid my property. Some design, some prototype. You're going to tell me where it is. I don't know anything about stolen property. And even if I did, I'd burn it before giving it to you. Dominic's expression shifted, something dangerous flickering in his eyes. Then you'll stay here until you remember. I've paid the producers a substantial sum to extend our time together. This 2-week experiment. It can last as long as I want it to. Months, if necessary. The network is thrilled with the drama we're generating. The world tilted. You can't do that. I already have. Look around, Ilara. Notice anything strange? She had, actually. Small things. The crew seemed less present. Some contestants had mentioned the clocks showing inconsistent times. The newspaper she'd glimpsed in the kitchen was dated wrong. How long have we really been here? She whispered. 23 days. We passed the original end date a week ago. The others don't know yet. I've been careful about that. But you need to understand, I will keep you here until I get what I want. Ilara ran. Not to her room, but to the front gates, confirming what she feared. Locked. Impenetrable. She tried the service entrances, the garage, even the windows. Everything sealed. Dominic had bought himself a prison, and she was the only inmate who knew it. She should have hated him more. Should have felt nothing but rage and revulsion. But something was wrong with her internal wiring, because when Dominic found her later that night on the mansion's rooftop terrace, when he stood close enough that she could smell his cologne and feel the heat radiating from his body, she didn't pull away. My father didn't steal from you, she said quietly. He wouldn't. Everyone has their breaking point. Their justifications. Like you. What's your justification for destroying lives? Dominic was silent for a long moment, looking out at the manicured grounds that might as well have been the moon for all the escape they offered. My father built everything I inherited. Died when I was 25. Before he died, he told me that Richard Chin had promised him a revolutionary manufacturing process, something that would change the industry. Your father took the advance, 2 years of development funding, then vanished the prototype when we came to collect. $3 million in research, gone. My father's last project, stolen. Ilara felt something crack in her certainty. I never knew about any of this. Because your father was good at secrets. Good at playing the victim while hiding his crimes. So you ruined him instead of going to the police. I had no proof. Just my father's word against his. So yes, I ruined him. And I'd do it again. The honesty was brutal. Ilara turned to face him fully, searching his face for something human beneath the cold calculation. If I tell you I don't know where this prototype is, if I give you access to everything my father left behind, will you let everyone go? Yes. She didn't believe him. But she was out of options. Over the next week, something impossible began to happen. As Ilara showed Dominic her father's old files, his journals, the storage unit containing remnants of the business, they talked. Really talked. About loss and betrayal and the weights they carried. Dominic was brilliant and damaged, driven by ghosts that wouldn't let him rest. He spoke about his father with a reverence that made her chest ache. And somewhere between the arguments and the searching, between the forced proximity and the cameras that caught every glance, Ilara started falling for her captor. It was Stockholm Syndrome, she told herself. trauma bonding. But it felt like something more dangerous than that. It felt like recognition, like finding someone who understood the specific shape of her scars. The other contestants remained oblivious. The producers kept filming, feeding them carefully edited footage, manipulating time and perception. Ilara watched it happen with growing horror, understanding that everyone in this mansion was a puppet in Dominic's private revenge play. Except revenge was starting to taste like something else. I found something, Ilara told him on what might have been day 37 or 52, time having lost all meaning in their bubble. They were in the library again, surrounded by her father's legacy. Letters between my father and yours. They were friends, Dominic. Before the business partnership, before everything went wrong. Dominic read the letters with an expression she couldn't parse. His hands shook slightly, the only outward sign of disturbance. My father never mentioned friendship. Only betrayal. Read the dates. The friendship ended 3 months before the theft allegation. Something happened between them. They dug deeper, and the truth emerged like a creature from deep water, ugly and undeniable. Dominic's father had stolen the prototype first, trying to cut Richard Chin out of their partnership. Richard had taken it back, hidden it, planned to expose the betrayal. But Dominic's father had died suddenly, and Richard had been left looking like the thief. My father wasn't the villain, Dominic said slowly. And neither was yours. They were just two men who destroyed each other over pride and fear. Ilara touched his hand carefully, afraid he might shatter. What do we do now? We find the prototype. We share it publicly. We tell the truth. They found it 2 days later, hidden in plain sight among Ilara's own artwork. Her father had disguised the revolutionary manufacturing designs as abstract paintings, mathematical beauty masquerading as modern art. Worth millions, yes, but more importantly, a vindication of both their father's memories. Dominic called the producers that night. Demanded they open the gates. When they refused, citing contracts and ratings and the story arc that needed completion, something in him snapped. I paid you to trap her, Dominic said coldly into the phone while Ilara listened from the doorway. Now I'm paying you double to let everyone go. We're done here. The head producer laughed. You don't get it, Kane. You created the perfect show. Ratings are astronomical. We're not ending this until sweeps week. That's 8 more weeks minimum. Maybe more if the network wants to extend. You're holding people prisoner. We're fulfilling a contract. Everyone here signed releases. Everyone stays until we say otherwise. Even you, billionaire. Especially you. You're our golden goose. Dominic hung up, his face ashen. When he looked at Ilara, she saw something she'd never seen before. Fear. I can't fix this, he said. I created a monster, and now it's eaten us both. Ilara crossed the room, took his face in her hands, and kissed him. It was reckless and stupid and felt like the only honest thing left in their curated prison. When they broke apart, she was smiling. Then we burn it down. They told the other contestants everything the next morning. Showed them the dates, the manipulations, the extended timeline. Showed them that their consent had been manufactured, their imprisonment disguised as entertainment. The mansion erupted in fury. 11 people, united in rage, could do remarkable things. They found the circuit breakers. Cut the power to the cameras. Used furniture to barricade the control room where the crew huddled. Made so much noise and chaos that the local police were called for a disturbance. When the gates finally opened, when officers stormed in to find celebrities and civilians and one very guilty billionaire staging a rebellion, Ilara knew their story would explode across every media platform within hours. Lawsuits would fly. Careers would end. The network would scramble. But standing in the driveway, breathing free air for the first time in 63 days, Ilara didn't care about any of that. She cared about the men beside her, whose hand had somehow found hers in the chaos. I'm still furious with you, she said. I deserve worse than fury. You're going to spend years making this right. Compensating everyone. Therapy bills alone will be astronomical. I know. And you're going to fund my art studio. Full operational budget. No strings attached. Done. And you're going to fall in love with me properly. Not this twisted captive situation. Real dates. Real courtship. Prove you're capable of being a decent human being. Dominic looked at her then, really looked at her, and something in his expression made her breath catch. Ilara Chen, I fell in love with you on day 4 when you threw a wine glass at my head during the dinner argument. Everything after that was just me trying to keep you close while pretending I wasn't already completely destroyed by you. She kissed him again, there in front of the cameras that would never stop following them now, in front of the contestants and the police and the wreckage of their manufactured reality. Some love stories were born from darkness. Some required destruction to build something true. And some, impossibly, bloomed in prisons of their own making until the walls came down and left only the truth behind. 6 months later, Ilara's art studio opened to critical acclaim, featuring her father's hidden designs as the centerpiece. Dominic stood beside her at the opening, their relationship still complicated, still healing, still real in ways their prison had never been. The lawsuits were ongoing. The therapy was helping. The world had judged them both and found them wanting but human. Do you regret it? She asked him that night, standing in her gallery surrounded by the ghosts of their father's friendship. All of it. Dominic pulled her close, and his answer was honest because they'd promised each other nothing less. I regret hurting you. I regret hurting everyone in that mansion. But I can't regret what led me to you, even if the path was unforgivable. I'll spend my life trying to be worthy of the second chance you're giving me. Good, Ilara said, kissing him softly. Because I'm not going anywhere. No locked gates this time. I'm choosing to stay. And in the end, that made all the difference. Some loves save you. Others own you. If you crave dangerous billionaires and twisted romance, subscribe to 15-Minute Binge Watch. The next story starts soon. Don't miss it.